Hi.
So today we're going to, first of all, welcome to everyone to our podcast, Divers of Knowledge. So today we're going to talk about something that will make you grow as a leader, or, it talks about leadership in a whole. It's a reading that it's really important for someone who wants to become a leader in an organization, in an enterprise. It's really important to know this because it makes you think outside the box of um, how a leader works or how it should work in a way.
Yes, I agree with that. Mainly because I know there's people like studying, I don't know, many degrees or bachelor's degrees.
Mhm.
As I found out this degree about global management or I don't know, business administration and those type um, of careers. I mean, this type of lectures readings, uh, they are helped by no,
Leadership.
exactly.
Their whole base of this career that Charlie's talking, it's grown or it's cemented in a leadership stand. So we're going to talk about focusing in, especially in this career, as we are not already discovered, but we're studying it also.
Yes, fun fact.
So, first, let's present each other, your guides on this beautiful and fulfilling journey. My name is Pablo, and I'm joined by my great friend.
Hi, Charlie. Yes.
So, okay, now talking about a little bit of the reading, we chose The Prince by Machiavelli, which talks about a little bit of leadership, of how, through his experiences, how leaders or rulers maintain control, which he gives some mix of practical advices and observations, again based on what he has lived or what he has learned. So from these, there's two questions that came up in our minds. Firstly, in The Prince from Machiavelli, he argues that a leader must be cunning and use any means necessary to maintain control. Uh, so he can have stability and power. But how does this relate to politics and leadership in our modern society, and what we think is the idea that ends justify the means? What ends does justify the means, and if is this relevant still today?
Yes, I mean, I want to add with everything what you've said. This is a very intriguing reading. I don't know, like just uh, it. I think Machiavelli gives a lot of facts that have worked in today's society and throughout our human history. Because first of all, I mean, the guy talks about how a ruler can stay in power, and well, what every human being wants in this world is to have power at some point. And actually, what Machiavelli says is that like not being nice all the time. For example, he said that it's better to be feared than loved. I mean, not hated, but feared. And his arguments are like love fades and people forget that, and people are ungrateful. But instead, fear, people really hold into that, and they can be managed. And I mean, with fear, I'm gonna say a little of data in the next few minutes. But anyways, fear, it's a really powerful tool in order to make people I don't know, like manageable. Then he also, like Pablo said, like being cunning like a fox, but also like a lion before somebody cuts you off. And like Pablo said again, the ends justify the means. So like with this really interesting question about if the like if the ends justify the means in modern society, I think it's really hard, because I don't know if you agree with this, but like I found out that well, I think that we still see that in today's society.
Yeah, totally. Many big enterprises still have that mentality on it. They want to get the results as much as they can, any way they can. They don't care about the impact in the environment or socially. But we're also seeing a lot of organizations that are changing that mentality to a socially cultural perspective. I think many people are right now in entrepreneur ethics. I think is becoming more and more around the protection of the environment, especially, and the benefit of many, not, and also the company, like a win-win relationship.
Mhm.
And I think that we have seen that also in our career. We have seen classes that have taught us that we have to create a win-win result from making business, from opening to others, from production, etc.
Yeah, but even though, yeah, like you explain all of that, and I agree with you, like companies are changing, I still consider that in well, talking about politics, this phrase, it's like
Really,
still,
yeah,
yeah,
very
like,
well marked.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, I don't know if you can, if you are empathetic and you put like in the shoes of a leader, a political leader or a country leader, like, I consider that sometimes he has to make decisions that they have to
Be justifiable.
aha, exactly, and like care for all, or at least most of the population of that like that
Yeah.
country, that sector, uh, because in the end their job is to protect the vast majority of these
Mhm.
people. So even though that it is like a really really bad I don't know how to say, like
Process.
exactly.
Mhm.
It's I consider that it's still in our politics. I mean, maybe not in enterprises as you said,
Mhm.
but in talking about politics
Yeah.
and leaders, I think it's still
Yeah, yeah.
there.
Especially here in, well, of what we've seen in the history of our country here in Mexico, we've seen that it's still well marked. Have it still has a watermark on
Mhm.
every decision every politician makes, because one, they are trying to get their own interests. So, and the interest of the party is not about the interest of the whole country. It's about how the party can maintain that power.
Mhm.
And as you mentioned, it's a way to maintain that power. And going back to the feared and loved um, ideal, uh, many politicians, okay, right now, maybe the new party here right now is trying to be loved, but at the same time, love, as we talked about in classes before here in the humanism, sorry, class, um, we talked about like fear, well, no, sorry, love can turn to hate because of the emotions that
Yes.
it transmits. And we are seeing that with half of the population, many hate that new party. But going back what I was saying is that the parties before and the parties right now, which say, "Oh, we're doing it for you," they're really doing it for them. They're really doing it for their own interest. As we can see, it's not part of a win-win relationship as many organizations want, and it's still well marked, as I say, as I repeat like 3 times now. uh, but yeah, it's something that, as you said, in politics, it's something that's still there, and changing that is difficult because
Yes.
you have to obtain results no matter what in politics.
Yes.
That's the thing. You have to push the country no matter what, and as you said, it can affect a percentage of the population, and it can benefit the other percentage. But when it comes to the own interests of the party, of the government, of the people who manage all of that, then that is not justifiable. That is nothing to do with what you are standing for as a leader. In That's in my opinion.
Yes, and like I just want to add before moving on, like I found out a study made by the psych tests in 2021 that talks about how COVID-19 was a really really powerful
Mhm.
tool because of fear. Like
Yeah.
we all know that well, we live during a pandemic, and
Mhm.
it was a really really difficult times. Were difficult times, but what I found really really interesting about this study is that it stated that people who adopt um, no, I got wrong about the study
No,
about
that's all
COVID 19, but I found out in another study, sorry, that its title is "What Kind of People Believe That the Ends Justify the Means," and it establishes that people who adopt this conviction are not as kind or as morally as they claim to be. You know, like if leaders um, like maybe yes they follow the ends justify the means
model.
model, but they are not as kind or as moral, and that's really
Yes.
interesting. Like we invite you to investigate a little bit more about
Yeah,
this.
there's a lot of studies who are like for the psychology of this. It's a really interesting thing to talk about if the means justify the end.
Hmm. Yes.
Or sorry, the end justify the means. That's backwards.
Doesn't
But
matter, doesn't matter.
yeah, but yeah, we invite you to go and look a lot of these studies because they talk about how our society is constructed and how it's organized, and if they still the world leader can have a great impact in our society today, knowing this that many um, use this model. So I wanted to say something about what Machiavelli says about being a cunning leader. Well, he emphasizes in practical power, and as we can see in modern politics, it's something that is really new. Well, not new, sorry. Really seen, really there. Many turn a blind eye to it, but it's there. And how they take decisions, how they rule, and even if they want to pursue a narrative. Like, for example, here in Mexico, the government wants to say, oh, is the government for the people? We have seen it's not. It's the part of kind of the contrary, it's just on their own benefit. They are not doing as much as we as a society we want. They're not benefiting anyone if even though that narrative they say to you is not true. They also control or push their agendas.
Yes, and like before going to our commercial, like I want to mention the COVID-19 thing that I found really interesting. It's a study from the NIH, the National Library of Medicine, made in 2020, and like it looks up into the part that nowadays you know what Machiavelli stated about you know how fear can manage our lives, and how it has functioned, like for example in North Korea right now, or in Nazi time, Germany, the Second World War. And it stated how COVID-19 was a really powerful weapon in order to
strike fear.
To strike fear, you know. And it really makes sense because when we were in our lockdown, like we will not go out because of the fear of being like
sick, yeah,
getting sick.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like imagine like if China, I don't know if any country would create this, but it's really bad. Anyways, like Pablo, thank you for inviting me to this podcast. I had a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
No, thank you for you being here, for us coming here and talk about today's topic. Thank you for everyone who joined us today in this journey so far. We expect you to come by next time and go through more adventures and more knowledge as we do.
Yes, I also invite you guys to look at like the studies that I investigated about how fear can be a really powerful tool, and how the phrase "the ends justify the means" is still nowadays like marked in our society and in politics. So yes, we invite you to do that.
Also, read The Prince Machiavelli.
Yes.
It's going to be awesome for you. It's going to help you a lot on being a leader.
Yes, take care.
Bien.